Set the mood. Whoa. Ooh. Stinks. Stinks. What is that? Get back there. I swear. I swear by the moon and the stars in the sky. Okay, the purpose of this video isn't about hair. It's about gastric sleeve. I just hit my 2-year anniversary from my gastric sleeve. I started doing some stuff on Instagram. I've been following a lot of people who've had gastric sleeve done on Instagram, and people were asking me questions. I started asking myself questions and things that I would like to know, things that I wish I'd known, things I would have liked to have expected in the beginning. I stayed on weight loss forums, gastric sleeve forums, and there was a lot of things I felt that people left out. People were more concerned about the gas pain, how badly the surgery is gonna hurt, and which I was too, but there's still a few things that I think people don't mention. So here we go. 10 things. 10 things that maybe you want to know, maybe you don't want to know. Maybe you've already had it done, maybe you're gonna have it done. If you're gonna have it done, you're gonna be just fine. You're gonna be better than fine. I wrote these down. Number 1, chicken broth. Your first week you spend on a chicken broth and jello diet, and you learn to hate both of those things. Not that you get to consume a whole lot of that, but it just gets to a point where, like my mother, she brought me an entire bag. I already had like a container from Sam's. I already had a container from Sam's of chicken broth, and it was just like one where you screw the top off and you pour out how much you need. Whenever I came home from the hospital, she brought me like a Kroger bag full of cans of chicken broth. And matter of fact, I still have them today. They're in my pantry right now. But by the time she brought them, it was like day 2 for me, and I had so much chicken broth that I was like pissed. I was like, Ma, I don't want this. Really mad at her for some reason. Also, you're a little emotional, but I was really mad at her for bringing me chicken broth. I just thought, like, don't you know that's all I'm living off of? Couldn't you give me beef broth? Woman. Number 2, probably will develop acid reflux or GERD. They told me to expect it for the first month or maybe 2 months. It's 2 years out. I suffer pretty bad from that. I deal with that often. So expect a little GERD. Expect to have the burning sensation, pressure on your chest. Just feels like your throat is on fire. Expect that. 3, you become pretty picky. I'm not sure why. Well, actually I do know why. You become picky because if you can only eat like a small handful of food, you don't want to eat crap. One of the things I think that got me really big was coming from a household of clean your plate. Don't waste any food. People are starving in the world. Why are you not going to eat all your food? I was really big into cleaning my plate and not wasting food and eating leftovers. You fucking hate leftovers now. You don't really care for microwaves. You learn to eat cold food because there's times where you get so hungry because you haven't eaten. You forget, like you're not hungry, so you'll go throughout the day and it'll be lunchtime and you'll be like, why do I have a headache? I'm nauseous. I feel like I'm going to pass out because you haven't eaten today. So by the time you go to eat, you're so hungry. You're like, I don't even care what it is. I'll just take a bite out of it. And you take your bite or your 2 bites and you're full and you go on about your business. And you don't realize you just ate cold macaroni. You become picky and not picky, if that makes any sense. Like whenever you can sit down and eat, whenever you do get to decide like where I want to eat or go buy your groceries, you're real picky about what you want. You'll find yourself spending more money than you probably would have spent before because you can only eat a little bit amount. Like another thing that I used to do was I would save the best bite for last, but now I'm the opposite. If I want dessert, I eat dessert first. Or the cheesiest bite on a dish, I will eat that first. Because before, I would save that good bite for the end to like finish off the meal and be satisfied. So now I'm the opposite. But then also, when you're really hungry and you know you just need a little bit to get by, you'll kind of eat whatever. It's kind of sad, the things that you'll find yourself putting into your mouth just to get on through the day. 4, it is beyond hard. I don't know how people get in all the required liquids for the day or the protein. I think my surgeon told me to get 80 grams of protein a day. I probably haven't had 80 grams of protein since I had this surgery. How do you do it? Which leads me to number 5. Piss. Yeah, piss. Human piss. So, because you don't really drink that much, you don't really pee that much. there's been several times for like my first few months after, I peed like twice a day. Once in the morning, once at night. Like when you pee, your urine's brown. Like, it's just horrible. It's really, really bad. And it's just a lack of fluid. But you will probably think you're dying. It doesn't smell so good. And obviously it can't. If this urine's been sitting in you all freaking day long, it's not gonna smell so good whenever you get it out. For any of you who have taken care of grandparents, older people, senior citizens, worked the nursing home circuit, which I'm very well familiar with the nursing home circuit, it'll bring back memories. When it first happened to me, I was shocked that my urine was kind of brown, but then it was the smell. I came out of the bathroom and I was like, I'm an old lady. I'm officially an old lady. I have old lady urine. Like old lady piss. My piss smells like an old lady. I don't know why no one tells you this, but you will have nursing home senior citizen piss. You get your crap together and start figuring out how to consume more. How to get in as much liquid as you possibly can. You can take that bottle of water around with you all day long and do the sip, sip, sip. It sounds really, really good, but then when you start to do it, good luck. Number 6. Number 6 for me really probably should have been number 2, but number 6 for me was regret. My first week home, I was really dealing with my incisions, and I was dealing with my chicken broth that I hated. And the thing that was really, really big that I couldn't talk about was regret. I was pretty miserable. I didn't like what I had done. And if I could have done it over again, like, I would have undone my surgery. The reason why I think I was like this, or the reason why I didn't talk about it, was because I was a cash paying customer. Cash paying customer, like I went to the Walmart and bought, but I paid cash for mine. And it was a big ordeal. I had to talk and talk and talk to my family about it, and I tried so long to trying to convince people that I really, really needed this. The difficult part was that I'd convinced people to support me with it, and people knew how hard I'd struggled to get the money together, and I couldn't focus on anything else except for, I want this surgery, I've got to get this money. Like, that was my deal. So then when I come home and I'm really miserable because I can't eat, that was my whole misery thing. It was all about food. I didn't realize how big my food addiction was, so all I could think about was, I'm super, super hungry. Even though I wasn't really hungry, I wasn't used to, and I couldn't get used to taking 1 or 2 bites of something and being full. It just didn't feel right. It didn't seem right. Wanting to eat a large amount of food, I realized that food really comforted me. And I had issues that I'd never dealt with before. So coming home and having to deal with that and not having anyone to talk to about it made me regret it. I didn't have anyone. I couldn't go to my family and say, oh man, I saved up. I spent all this money. I saved up. I spent all this money. And now I want to undo it. I want to undo it for this lame reason. I want to undo it because I want to eat a huge thing of pizza, or I want a big ass Dr. Pepper. You can't really say that. So you're kind of miserable and you have this regret, but you're dealing with it just so other people don't know that you did something that you regret, because then you don't want to hear it. You don't want people to throw that up in your face like, man, you saved for months. You saved for a year. You saved for so long for this. And now you don't want it anymore? And, you know, you don't want someone to watch you eat a little bit of food and be like, ha ha ha, bet you wish you could have this Dr. Pepper. Or I bet you wish you could eat this whole plate of food. Because you do. It's pathetic. You realize how pathetic you are. You realize in that moment how attached you are to food. 7, hunger hits. You go for like maybe a month. It was either my first month or my second month that I never was really hungry. It was only mental hunger, where I thought I was hungry, and if I went and I had a drink of something, it would automatically just go away. But out of nowhere, your stomach goes crazy. It's really, really loud. It's always grumbling. It's always making scary noises, and you're always hungry. You could eat all the time. You find yourself kind of grazing. But I feel like that's only for a short period of time. I can't really remember, but I don't think it lasted that long, but I just remember being shocked at how hungry I was. 8, dining out. And also eating out of people's houses, because when someone cooks for you, if they don't know, and you go over their house to eat because you don't eat that much, they assume that you didn't like the food. And you have to deal with it. You You become a liar. That should have been on my list. You become a liar. My thing always was, oh, I just ate. Or I would, this was so good, I would have eaten so much more. But I ate before I came. And it's like, well, I invited you over to my house for dinner. You knew you were coming here for dinner. Why would you eat at your house before you came to my house? I don't know. I don't know is your only response. I don't know. I just keep saying, I don't know. But eating out sucks because whomever you're with or the people that you're with, everyone's eating at their normal rate. They're having a good time. You kind of sort of in your head, you're kind of counting calories. You're thinking about what you're eating. You're making sure that you chew up your food well. Making sure that you swallow. Trying not to drink too much liquid with it. You're eating slower. You're taking breaths in between because if you just keep shoving food down, you have a lot of pressure and you have to like beat it down, or you'll have some trouble if you just try to shove in a whole lot of food quickly. And your server always assumes that you don't like your food, that you don't like your dish, because if everyone else is eating and everyone else is happy and you're not, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with you? Are you okay? Or they're like all the time, they're like, well, if you don't like this, I can get you something else. It's like, no, I really like this. Like, get off my plate. I like it. Just, you know, you just don't want to lay your business out there. Number 9, before this, I didn't care too much for crunchy foods or potato chips or snack foods. I mean, I kind of liked potato chips, but there was a period in my life where God was not shining his favor down on me, and I worked at Frito-Lay. And you smell those chips being made, and you work around hot chips, and you're always holding chips, and you see the potatoes coming off the truck, and they come down this little conveyor belt, and it's just the smell. And because it is Frito-Lay, they give you tons of chips. Like, there's always a diamond stack of chips on the table in the break room. So every time you go in the break room, there's pyramids of chips on the table. And they give you boxes of chips, and you get chips at discounts. And then your friends work there, so there's always chips in somebody's car. Maybe that's why I don't care for chips. But anyway, after this, I kind of find I am a chip or a snack person. It just developed kind of sort of overnight. Most things you do get full off of after a few bites. You, like the bag that you would pay like, I don't know, $1.29, $1.49 for it in the gas station. You can eat an entire bag of those. It might take you a little time, but you would be surprised how many chips you can get down versus other things. Be careful of crunchy foods. And number 10, my last one would be something that's TMI. A lot of people talk about the skin or the hairline. As far as your pizza, your down there pizza, whatever you call it, whatever you call yours, my waffle. I remember always hearing people say like, I'm gonna get a bikini wax, or there was a big thing, you know, women love to talk about, or there's like a threshold that you cross from being like a kid into like a teenager, where everyone's talking about trimming their bush, and then when you progress into being like a true adult, women are going together to get waxes. I never went. I never participated in those conversations. I didn't even know what people were talking about. I never participated because I didn't have that issue. I don't know why. I was 17 when I got underarm hair, and it didn't even fully come in. It was like 3 twigs of hair forever. It's still just this little patch. It's not even like legit underarm hair. But I never understood the term about the bush or trimming the bush. I never had that problem. But today, I have that problem. I'm trying to think how I can explain this. Okay, say you have an acre of land and you have 1,000 blades of grass on that. So if you stretch that out, over the acre of land, obviously it's going to be kind of patchy because everything's not going to fill in. It's a large spot with just a few blades of grass. It's all sparse and weird looking and patchy, right? Then you take the same amount of grass, the same 1,000 blades of grass, and you cut that down to half of the acre. So if you took all those and you just bunched them up in the middle and you cut off the excess bits of land, it becomes a nice little lush thing, right? I think that's what it was. I think whenever you are bigger, obviously it's a larger mass, it's a larger area to cover, and it's going to be patchy. It's going to be kind of sparse. But then when you have a smaller area and everything shrinks and comes back together, and then you start to understand the term fuzzburger, and you start to realize you now have a new thing to maintain. I went all these years not really having to do much with that because you saw more skin than anything, versus now, you know, you join the rest of the normal women of the world and you go and you get waxes and you pay more attention to it. You have to keep it, you have to maintain it. Something new that I didn't think I'd be maintaining. I thought I was like one of the lucky people. I wasn't lucky. I was just fat. There's 10 things that I wish people had told me, or I wish that I could have read about, knew more about, because when they came, I kept wondering, like, am I the only one? Is something wrong with me? I hope I've been of some help. I'm gonna go push some fluids in.